Hey everyone, this is Lano and Bacon here. We are here to talk about the London Singularity that I just recently finished on Fate Grand Order to bring out my thoughts, my opinions, and the things in general about this Singularity that I felt like, could be interesting to talk about. So, what is your first thought about this Singularity, Bacon?
Well, it's pretty bad.
Well, I guess not that bad. It do have some good points.
No?
Okay, so I want to go through the positive points first, what I do think is pretty good with this Singularity. And the very first one I think is, of course, some of the characters. I really do enjoy Anderson, Mordred, and Fran, of course. Even if Fran doesn't have much of dialogue in that sense, I just adore Fran since watching Fate Apocrypha. And also that is something I think is pretty fun and interesting to see the interaction between Mordred and Fran in Fate Grand Order compared to Fate Apocrypha, which it ended quite differently. But I still think it was pretty fun to see how they were and how Mordred really cared and took and helped Fran like that. And then of course I really liked Anderson. He's have always been one of my favorites casters actually in Fate Grand Order. While he could be quite boring as a scholar caster he is and all of that, could I also relate to him as a writer myself that I felt with him about all this pressure and all of this kind of stuff. And I do also like in general how sassy he was to like everyone. And especially when we got to the end and he stood in front of Solomon. Solomon that is pretty much godlike level compared to anyone there, and Solomon is standing there like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about that. You're a bitch, and I'm not afraid to say that. I love that actually with Anderson there. That was pretty fucking wicked there. And that brings out to another point I do like with this Singularity, which was the ending with Solomon. I thought it was pretty awesome. Many said that they do like the ending of this Singularity, and I can see why, because it really brought out like, holy crap, we got to see the final boss, the guy that is pulling the strings and seeing a bit of his power, but rather we get to understand that we pretty much just a toilet break for him in in regard of power, and it's pretty fucking interesting. I think it was pretty cool to see and really lift up the Singularity that otherwise, in my opinion, have been pretty mellow in its story and how it's been working. But that was pretty fucking awesome actually. And of course, as I like to say, is the music in general have been really great so far in this Singularity and in most other Singularity as well. And then of course we can go to the bad parts, which is quite a lot actually, in my opinion. I do feel that the story was very dragged out, you know. It felt like there was so many random useless battles without any really story content. It was just random battles, you know. I don't mind them at all actually. For in some random battles it's experience and you're getting items, whatnot. But instead of having like this, oh gosh, lots of talk, and then like, oh no, we know there's a few enemies, fight them. It felt like, you know, all this build up and then it's okay, it's another random helter-skelter or a doll thing that attacks us. Holy crap, you know. It felt like a little bit underwhelming in that regard. And now I don't mean that they should have like, whoa, big battles every single time, but it felt like the building up and then nothing really happens. It's just repeating. Then I'd rather have a few random battles in a row without too much talk and just piling it up. It feels like it became a chore, for me at least. And then we come to the other thing that I really had a trouble with this Singularity was, especially against the ending before we get to see Solomon, was all of these random servants they literally threw in. For me, it made zero sense for many of them, and it is like this old saying, like, too many chefs in the kitchen doesn't make a better soup. It doesn't make a better Singularity story if you're adding in so many random servants just for the thing of having them there. I mean, first we have this moment with Soken, well, okay, the young Soken, whatever, Makiri guy. And I thought I was, holy crap, that is something, that is pretty interesting. And then, and it really built up for me that, oh man, he's the final boss of this, right? Nope. Then he summoned Nicholas Tesla, and I'm okay, but okay. Nicholas Tesla of all characters? Okay, let's go with that. And we get to see Tesla, and then we see Kintoki appearing? Tamamo? What? I mean, I understand that from someone said that Kintoki appeared mainly because the event with him was about that time. Sure, okay, I can get that, but still, it really don't for me, in my opinion. Because first of all, you already have this event, big event that focus on Kintoki. Just randomly thrown in like this for someone like me that didn't play that event. It made no sense, honestly. The only reason is because both use lightning. That is what? And Tamamo of what? That in the end it just became a joke for me. I mean, it felt like whatever. I mean, okay, free whatever you like. It doesn't add any real value to the story. Had Kintoki been in from the very beginning and build up his character and build up the story, then I could see it. Yes, that would have actually been much better. Rather than just throwing in random in the end there, and then he just died randomly by Solomon anyways. It didn't give him anything cool. It was like, I came, I died. Pretty much. That I felt like, why doing that? I felt lazy, in my opinion at least. If you enjoy it, so be it. But for me, it felt very lackluster. They just throw it in because just throw it in. And then, of course, when you defeat Nikola Tesla, you find, okay, finally the final boss is dead. Hi. Altera. Altera, not Altera, Altria. I can't even tell them a different apart anymore. Arturia is this. But yes, that was... I think that is probably even worse. Because Arturia just appeared, didn't really say anything, just was there. Like, what? In anything, though, in that regard, it makes more sense since Arturia, Arthur, is British. So it makes more sense in that regard that Arthur would be in there in the beginning. But, it didn't really do anything. It was so fucking random. I mean, I guess it was to build up more a little bit, the character, but it still didn't feel enough. It was just so random. It was like, what? It was like you could fight a random mob, as I mentioned in the beginning, a bit earlier, is all of these random battles. Instead, you could just have these, but instead it's Arthur and all of that. It didn't really make sense to me in that regard, and I felt like, it became exhausting for me because it was like, this never ends. This is not fun, in my opinion. I mean, it's like when you're fighting a boss. Take a boss from any game you really like, or any game in God or something like that, and you beat it down, and then it resurrects again. Okay, another round. Okay, we take it down, and it resurrects again. Oh my, come on! I mean, first time you see the first form, you'll be like, holy crap, this is some big juicy stuff here, and then it dies, and you need to fight it again, and again, and again. In my opinion, I think that is just draining. It just become like, okay, when you find, it's the thing that for me, at least, as I said, this is my opinion. If you have different opinion, so be. We have all different opinions about this, but I feel like when I finished Arthur and Solomon in the end, though, luckily Solomon was actually a good thing there, because if it had not been Solomon or another random character or Arthur being then, I didn't feel any, victory. I just felt like, fuck me, I'm done with this. There was no joy of like, fucking yes, I beat it. It became like just an exhausting, like, oh, done with this. It felt so forced with all of these random encounters, the random bosses. It was like a random gauntlet with no really story to the characters or anything at all. I mean, sure, I can understand for some people that, for many people that having knowledge about the different franchises, that we go into this now, what happened with my opinion about Altera a while back, that I thought like, when I played Septem, I thought like, wow, what it is for a bland fucker, pretty much. And I got lots of comments like, oh, you haven't played Fate Extella and things like that. No, I haven't. I can't judge a character more from what I have seen, which is right now only in Fate Grand Order. If I play Fate Extella, of course my opinion will change. Most likely, probably for the better. And I do like Altera for the memes and the dance, good Civ stuff, bad Civ stuff, But from what I saw in the story in Septem, she was a very bland character. And this is what I feel like here right now as well. It's like, they can bomb in with these random characters like, yeah, if you've been playing this game or watched this anime, read this novel, you will know, but if you haven't, you're screwed. And then people start to blame these people that haven't really watched the other things yet, or maybe are new, or like, holy crap, I'm getting just overwhelmed. And I feel like they're trying to force in too much things in this singularity and in general. And how would I try, if I now I know I'm not a professional writer or anything like that, so you can lampoon my opinion and idea however much you want, but is there something I would like to change in this singularity? There is actually a couple of things I would like to see that I think would make this more interesting and more engaging in ways. And first of all, which maybe surprised lots of people here that been watching, knowing me, and that's Jack the Ripper. They barely used Jack the Ripper here. We have this demonic fog, which I think is an interesting concept actually. Fits very well with London and the concept and the air and all that. Which fog in general, London and Jack the Ripper, and they barely use Jack the Ripper. I mean, I do know that I don't really like her design and all of that, and way better. Even better. And I feel like, why not use that? Why not use Jack the Ripper more? They could have used Jack the Ripper for more, make it more mysterious, make it as Jack the Ripper are actually in the history. We don't know anything. They could have played so much more about it. I think they could have done that way, way, way more interesting and way better with that. Using Jack the Ripper as an catalyst for this, maybe not the final boss, but a character that would span more over the story and things like that. And another character I would see differently in this would be Jackal, actually. I would like to see Jackal, you know, as this guy to help MC and the good team, so to speak, but then also having Hyde that can appear and helping the bad ones. I think that would be quite interesting because after all, Jackal and Hyde are the opposites of each other, and they would do this to fight the different sides. Instead, Hyde is pretty much barely visible. He didn't do too much anyways. They could use Shakespeare even more. Then again, I think Shakespeare did what Shakespeare do best. He was there, he talked, he didn't do nothing. That is pretty much the Shakespeare we did get to see pretty much in Fate Apocrypha, which I enjoyed actually. Shakespeare, not Fate Apocrypha super much. It was quite lots of problems with that as well, but in general, I think they could have utilized this way more than they actually did in this. Using these characters that are, first of all, British, they are related to the era, maybe not Shakespeare, but especially Jack the Ripper and all of that, and use them, but instead they're killing off Jack the Ripper very instant. However much I dislike her design, I really don't like it. I think like, please, hashtag give Jack some clothes. Please make that a thing. And otherwise, I think they could have used it so much more interesting, much more elaborated than they did. And instead they were throwing random Kintoki, Tesla, Tamamo, like Narni. I felt like that's what they could have done. I think they could improve way more, make it a bit more mysterious, you know. That I would actually love. A bit more like Sherlock Holmes styles, you know, like detective work and things like that. I think that would be way more interesting in my opinion, but that is just me and my thoughts about the singularity. So in score of a 10, how much would I give this? I would give it 5, mainly because the ending was actually very good. I really enjoyed the Solomon part and all that, but there was lots of things I think it dragged it down, especially before the Solomon part. The second half of this was like a mess in my opinion. It was like bombing with random information, random servants. It was a bit underwhelming in my opinion. I think they could have executed that much better and done it more engaging and more exciting to read and play. But in all, this is just my opinion and how I felt. They could probably improve it a bit and all, but for now, it is as it is. It's still not the worst thing I have read in my life. Things that could improve, of course, but that is so for every one of us. We can always improve. And Yeah, I thought it was nice anyways to play through with everyone watching and commenting and all of that. So I'm really appreciating that. And if people are interested, I could do this for the other singularity as well, going through a little bit what I enjoyed and didn't enjoy, and things like that. I just wanted to bring this out, so thank you everyone for watching. See you later on. Have a continued super great day.